Hello, everybody. Welcome to Murder We Spoke. I'm Matt.
I'm Rachel.
And we're going to be talking about Dennis Nilsen today. Have you ever heard of Dennis Nilsen?
I've heard a couple things about him. Something with a toilet. Spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not too familiar with this one, so I'll be adding my comments, but I want you to teach me. Teach me, Matt.
Okie dokie. Sounds good. And by the way, this members only podcast. Sorry. Haha. Members only. All because we had some interesting people. This is a reboot. Murder We Spoke reboot.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to see this, please pay.
Yeah, go to SPACEZAMBONIE.com.
Wait, doesn't that, if they see this, doesn't that mean they already paid?
Yeah.
Please continue paying. We appreciate it.
If you really like this podcast, we like you watching us.
Yes, and
But please
also
don't murder
I need
us.
to pay my bills, so
Yeah.
please.
Anyways, back again, Dennis Nilsen. Anyways. So he's also known as the Kindly Killer, the Muswell Hill Murderer, and the British Jeffrey Dahmer.
He looks a little
Even
bit
though
like
he's Scottish.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got that. Well, technically, Scottish is British, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's on the same
It's
isle.
true. But I guess, I don't know. Does Britain include Scotland? I thought they were separate.
Yeah, no, you call them separate. Yeah.
They call them separate, but they're still on the same island, right?
They're nearby each other. They're like neighbors. It's like Sicily with Italy.
That's what I was about to say. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's a Sicilian thing where it's like, oh no, we're
Yeah. If you
I'm
say
sure
they're
it is,
Italy,
and I'm
they'll
so
be
sorry.
angry.
I just have never been there, so
I'm pretty ignorant on other countries, too.
yeah, very. I'm very.
I don't travel a lot. I'm agoraphobic. Anyways.
He does look like Jeffrey Dahmer, though. As we
Yeah, he totally looks like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Relax, man. It's okay.
All right, I'm getting scared.
Bring it back.
I'm just getting scared.
The mouse was on my screen and he was panicking.
No! So, yeah, he does look like Jeffrey Dahmer. He's got a lot of other similarities to Jeffrey Dahmer, which is pretty crazy. And they even started the exact same year when it came to their murders, 1978.
Twins.
Yeah, they really were twinning big time. It's crazier. This person, I believe, is a little bit older in comparison to Jeffrey Dahmer. So, Dennis Nilsen, Scottish serial killer, and necrophile, adding extra letters in there from Scotland, murdered at least 12 young men and boys between 1978 and 1983. Yep. But technically, it could have been more. He was originally saying that he murdered more people.
Well, I feel like every serial killer likes
To boast.
They're like, oh, I killed this many people. I killed 150 million people. And it's like,
There's that one person I forgot.
where did you get time to do this?
Like that one guy, I forgot his name, that like admitted to killing maybe like 100 or 400 people, but
It's
he
like-
didn't murder that many people. He may have killed one person at most.
Yeah, they usually go, oh, I killed this many people. And the cops are like, well, can you show us where the body is? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm like, you don't remember. Okay. But yeah. Usually serial killers who like attention, like saying that they killed more people for the shock of how many people they killed. And so you'll remember them more.
Yeah, it's crazy. But Dennis was also known as Des. That's another name he went by. Was born on November 23rd, 1945.
A Scorpio, as I think.
Bruh. In Fraserburgh, Aberdeenshire. It's a long name. Second of three children born to Elizabeth Duthie White and Olav Magnus Mocksheim. But he adopted the surname Nilsen.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Try pronouncing that.
Yeah, and pretty much from his father, that's where everybody's like, all right, that's where he was messed up because his father was in World War II and everything and participated in the war.
I feel like that's the case for a lot of serial killers. They had this study that I read. I forgot where I read it, but they had the study
Was
saying
it from Reddit?
maybe I don't remember, but they said like more. They said like more when the parents came back from the war. This impacted the children, and in that decade, like the 80s, around there, or when the wars were going on. Whatever.
Yeah, once everybody's all developed and all that delicious,
and the kids were
traumatizing
seeing it.
stuff.
So they said the kids were seeing it on TV at the time. They were seeing it on TV. They were seeing their parents come back messed up. And all of a sudden that spawned a generation when they got older of serial killers. 80s. Think about it. Think about how many serial killers there were in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a whole
way
bunch.
more than right now, but it could just be that serial killers nowadays are hiding in plain sight, and it's easier or harder.
I feel like it's probably harder.
It's harder.
And I feel like the big thing that people generally do nowadays are the soft targets.
Yeah.
That's like the modern day serial killer.
But or they get caught really easily because security, DNA. I feel like
Except
all that
Gilgo
stuff
Beach.
wasn't. Yeah. Well, we have our certain notorious ones that we did cover, so go watch those, but also pay money to see this one. But,
Yeah, we have our YouTube.
we have our older videos that you can go back and look of certain serial killers.
Yeah, those
that
are
were never
free.
caught.
Those are like count
Those are
that as
free.
like a free trial.
Yeah.
Those are like our soft introductions.
Yeah.
to us. And then if you really like it, you'll pay for it.
You can't just say soft target and then call it a soft introduction.
Oh my god.
You can't use those two so close.
They're one and the same.
Oh my god. Oof.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
Yeah.
But
You just made me so happy. This is members only.
but there is certain killers that get away with it, and whether it was because they may have been smarter or just our equipment and stuff we have to like analyze stuff was less than it could exactly be that. They probably would have caught like Jack the Ripper if they had DNA.
Yeah, the modern forensics that we have now, and security cameras being all over the place.
There's
you name
literally
them.
nowhere. We're a monitored state, I think they call it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's places that are a little more reserved. There's
Sure,
that
like your
one
basement.
area, and I feel like, if I remember correctly, I think it's Texas, known as like the Killing Field or the Killing Road, where that's
Paso.
like a lot more secluded.
Yeah.
So that's where people end up like taking people and snuffing them out.
there's actually a place I think in Nevada or something like that. Correct. I
I wouldn't
might
be
be wrong.
surprised. Any place,
But there is
south.
a place that's technically not the United States. It's like a little square. So you can literally go there and like.
Is
I'm
that
not
the
going
one
to
that's a
advertise
separate
this.
country? Is
I
that the
don't think
separate
it's-
country one that person was starting?
No, it's just a land that they just don't
Oh.
deem any like jurisdiction. Like there's no
That's
jurisdiction
crazy.
from anybody. It's like a square in the middle of like the desert.
The American Square.
But it's close
like
enough
the
to the
Bermuda
road that
Triangle.
people just like, drop people there and they're like, well, it's nobody's jurisdiction, so
Is that
That's ridiculous.
it is. And that's the same, it's like that everywhere. Not everywhere, but it's like that with certain places like reservations.
I feel like Finland should just go in there and be like, we claim this in the name of Finland.
isn't that
something.
the plot of Kick-Ass? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought so. That's the nostalgia critic
Yep.
movie where they're
Yep.
all fighting over that one piece of land because it's another country. Oh.
It's not even a country though. It's just like they argued about whose jurisdiction, and they're like, let's just like not fight about this. So there is places like that, dark alleys. Internet is now a big thing where people, catfish people, and
Yeah.
I feel like it might be a little bit easier for serial killers to get in contact with people.
That's So what I think, and not to interject too much. Sorry, it's really early in the morning.
Yeah.
I usually do all these podcasts at night, so my brain is no, but it's like a weird, scary age that we're in now because you don't know if someone's smart, what they can do to get away with stuff now, and if someone does understand the different forensic stuff, understands the anonymity of online like culture and stuff, like it's way easier to stalk someone and. Jack the Ripper days, if you wanted to find out where like Mary Sue was, you gotta like keep an eye out every day.
You gotta
Now-
ask people. You
Yeah.
gotta be like, and now it's just like they can swim so easily around the internet that it's like
Yeah.
we almost made a bad thing for ourselves.
Hey, let me just check Be Real to see where
Oh my God.
Mary Sue is now.
Now we gotta be careful about our kids. Our kids are now have more access to the internet, and they have more. They talk to their friends through like I sound like an old person, but they talk to their friends through these box chat things. But yeah, But I'll let us get back to our main story. We like got off on a tangent of how easy. So you can see how people during these times got away with a lot of stuff, and a lot of the infamous killers. There are one probably around that they still haven't found, but I digress.
And I feel like the internet also would have helped out during these days, because there are those people that are like the internet sleuths that go look at don't fuck with cats.
Yes.
Like those people got together and they helped figure that guy out and got him caught.
I go, it's you literally can't. Like,
if it wasn't for that, I don't think they ever would have caught that guy.
No. I think there's a lot of unsolved mysteries that are being solved. Within this past year, there's been like solidly like maybe 4 or 5 that have been solved, unsolved people, missing people, unidentified people that we've been looking at for like 50 years. Just from DNA.
Damn.
Just from DNA, they were able to tell who these people belong to. So DNA is very important. If you're interested in it, you can look up CODIS. You can submit your DNA, and they can find if somebody in your family is a
cold case.
A cold case, or if your family member could have been involved in some of these cases.
Bruh.
And they can tell by you submitting your DNA. So it's very important, if you feel comfortable, to submit your DNA.
Yeah, that's a Pandora's box.
Yeah, what the hell?
It depends on if you're comfortable with it. I have nothing to hide. So they probably have your DNA anyways, realistically, if you're gonna be paranoid about like if they have your DNA. Just saying. But you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah, I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Watching you.
Everybody, you hear that? Everybody besides Rachel's a criminal.
I'm gonna come and find you.
Yeah. We got our cold case solver over here.
I'm the hard cop. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna lose my family to come and find you.
But,
All right.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
all right, so Des, very similar to Jeffrey Dahmer, at puberty realized that he was gay. So he was another one, not to stigmatize anybody, but he was another gay serial killer, which at that time I'm sure is very incriminating for people of the homosexual community. You got 2 people at the same time that are gay killing people.
I think it was a different thought process back then. Like, people weren't as accepting as they are now.
Oh, yeah, big time.
So it's like people of certain communities who like certain things were demonized. Even specific, like in this case, I feel like a lot of serial killers maybe wouldn't have become serial killers if they were like in nowadays.
Yeah, big time, where there's a little more acceptance and everything. Yeah, nobody's really... I mean, sure, it does exist. I mean, look at they/them.
Absolutely, but there's more help.
There's a lot more.
There's more understanding of
if one state is not accommodating of your views of whatever you want, your sexual freedom and everything like that, you move. That's you go to San Fran or someplace.
Or you have at least
New
people
York.
to talk about it to understand you.
Yeah,
Back
big
then
time.
it was like, oh, you are? Okay, you're a freak. Like, that's how you're like shunned. Like, nobody understands you. So I could see how this could turn into what it was.
Oh, yeah, big time. I mean, technically, I guess it would be more like bisexual, because he did kind of like mess with his sister.
Oh.
At a young age, just to kind of prove that he wasn't gay. Just because it was one of those things where, again, due to the stigmatization of it, he's like, maybe if I do this with my sister, it'll suppress those thoughts.
The thought process.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I was like, the thought process is, instead of going to find a girl, nah, my sister's right there. She's
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that helps.
No. If anything, it messes you up even
That
more.
doesn't prove anything.
It messes it. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't know.
And on top of that, when he was in the service, he did sleep with a female prostitute.
Okay, so
And he
maybe
was gloating about that one, too. He's like, I got my DWE. I don't think you guys have. And they're like, of course we have.
yeah, they're like way more than
We're
you,
in the
man.
military.
Traumatize him a little bit more and make him feel like he's like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? This is only your first person?
Yeah, he was very proud of it,
Only
though.
your yeah. Like
Yeah, if the pickings are slim, whatever. So, yep. But he also did lay with his brother. And his brother realized it too.
Is this Game of Thrones? Is this...
Not sexually though.
Oh,
not like
dude,
not
you
like
just-
the way he did with his sister.
Okay.
But he just like laid near his brother.
Okay.
And his brother.
So he took a nap in his brother's bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and because of that, his brother knew something was up. So he started calling him hen, which is the Scottish slang for being like, yeah, you know.
That's mean.
Yeah. So he was getting regularly belittled by his brother.
So his
And
brother
he-
was like his dad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Was his brother aware of what he was doing with his sister? Was
I
anybody?
don't- Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised, but I didn't. That's the one thing I didn't dive too deep into. So I'm not really knowledgeable. If any of you out there know, you can leave it in the comments.
We could try to do some checking.
Do some
back.
quick,
Yeah.
do a number crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like there were some red flags, but then
Yeah.
again, there was no
Yeah.
resources. So red flags could mean nothing.
Yeah.
Literally, you might just overlook it because it's your brother, and you're like, maybe he's just a little weird, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe he's not like, I don't know. Maybe he's just he's an outsider, an outcast. But red flags for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah, big time. Especially since if his sister didn't out him, then he's already getting the vibe that he could get away with stuff
Yeah.
like later on.
Like I
in
could
life.
do this and get away with it. You
Yeah.
know? Or it's just pure ignorance. Like certain killers have pure like I'm never gonna get caught.
Yeah, big time.
I'm never
that
ever
delusion.
gonna get caught. Yeah.
And I was surprised by this one, like just because of how young he was. At the age of 14, that's where he joined the army.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how he was planning on escaping like his family life because he
Usually think about how many serial killers who were in the army.
Yeah, I mean, you go there, you
Jeffrey
just see
Dahmer.
some. Yeah, that was the other similarity.
It was like they get sent there
It was
as like
crazy.
a last resort. Like
Yeah,
whether
his-
this was him just doing it to get away, or they're sent there as like a last resort to like being bad behavior.
Oh,
Their
yeah.
parents will just send them there, but they usually won't make it. So he made it through.
Oh God, yeah, he made
Okay.
it through. I couldn't see any red flags in his military time. I mean, besides him sleeping with people, other like unconscious guys that were obliterated drunk. That was his MO. Very similar to Dahmer.
Yeah, like but Dahmer
Love
would
getting
drug,
people
right?
trashed. Yeah,
Didn't
with
he
Dahmer
drug
it was
people?
drugged. With
He
him, he
drugged-
just got them drunk.
Yeah.
Like really drunk.
What? Potato.
Yeah.
Except one is a drug and one is a drug.
Yeah, because Dahmer went into like the medical. He wanted to be a medic, whereas this guy was big into the culinary side. Yeah. So he wanted to be, like a chef and everything.
Okay.
And he actually did pass the catering exam that they have for the military. So
he was doing pretty
yeah,
good
he
in
was
the
doing
army.
really well. There was no reason to be murdering anybody.
Interesting.
Yeah. Besides, like, the loss of his grandfather at a young age. He lost his grandfather that he was really close with. And I believe his grandfather was a fisherman. His grandfather went out, if I remember correctly, and died of like a coronary.
Oh wow.
Yeah. On the
the
water.
sea.
Yeah. And so they
He
brought his
died like a
grandfather
real
back.
pirate.
Yeah. And they had a funeral service for him. It was very,
Yeah.
I don't know, it didn't sound like that traumatizing, but because of his relationship with his grandfather and
You're
everything,
close
that's like
with a
really big.
grandparent, it is kind of traumatizing, especially if you don't see it coming and it's like
Yeah,
a
big
quick,
time.
like
Surprise.
heart attack, surprise, dead. Like it's not like a drawn out. They were sick. This took a while. It was like a very sudden. Yeah. So, but I will never make excuses for people because like it is very
No,
traumatizing.
everybody loses people, but
Yeah,
you know,
everybody loses people traumatically, and they don't turn around and hurt other people.
you don't have the old gram like you do now, where you just be like, "I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that time."
But they had photos.
yeah, they
They
did.
had scrapbooks. It was almost like it was the
That was the
baby
old
steps
gram.
to Instagram is
The
scrapbooks.
scrapbooks.
People still do scrapbooks, but still Instagram is.
Any information on the sister?
We're still researching that department. I ended up passing my phone to Tony to see if he could find stuff.
Yeah. So there is some interesting facts. Just like you guys were talking about him in the army. There's this book that they used his memoir to create, where like he had his journal or something.
Oh, yeah, he had a lot of information. He had I think like 250 tapes or something like
Rule
that
number
too of
8:
information.
don't write down your
something crazy.
crime.
Yeah.
Rule number 9:
Yeah, he, like,
don't
cataloged
write
everything.
down your crime. Rule number 1: Don't
Okay.
write down your number.
And he
18.
was pretty like thorough about everything. There was people that remained anonymous. Like he didn't catch like everybody's name, where they weren't able to identify everybody. Strangely enough.
Still.
So in his book, he suggests that he was a pedophile from an early age, detailing
dang.
sex with a boy servant while in the army.
A boy servant? What was
Yeah,
that?
and he also said that he wished he died as a child because he was molested by his grandfather at the age of 5.
Whoa.
That would.
That's so weird to have such a fondness of the grandfather, but also to have been like molested by him.
It's very hard because it's your
That's crazy.
child.
Yeah.
How do you separate the concept of like I love my grandparents to my grandpa doing this, and then
So,
it just being normal.
Usually if people get that happening to them, you don't really have like a fondness to them. Usually you try and avoid them.
Sometimes
But maybe-
people who have that become those people.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
So from what I was like
Not always.
seeing when I was looking up this stuff too, because I watched like a short documentary on him, is that when his grandpa passed away, he associated the feeling of him being dead with like love. So that it was like, oh, he like
Death means I love you.
yeah. So I wonder if that is the separation of like, oh, okay, he was molested as a child. There were issues in the family. When his grandfather passed away, he was happy about it or something like that, and that got confused in his
It's
head of
triggered to be like him dying like is better. So I guess maybe that triggers like death equals like I love you, or death equals like, you know. So it's stuff like that can mess up a kid. It's very easy to mess up your kids. Okay, sometimes it's just like you have a mental illness, and by you doing that, it like triggers it, or even not even triggers it. It makes it worse, and you like obsessively think about a thought. So I can see how that could affect, especially if somebody you care about is taking advantage of you at a very young age. I could see how them dying made you happy. It's rough.
And so one of the things also, and let me scoot in a little bit.
Yep.
There's the corner of his face again.
Yeah, it's still kind of part of my face, but so one of the things also that he felt that when somebody died, that their spirit was closer to him, so that way when people died, that's part of like the reason why he like kept body parts and stuff, was because he felt that it would keep the spirit next to him so that they would never be able to leave him. So I guess that's probably also why the grandfather thing, where it's like, oh, his grandfather died and he's like, oh, now the grandfather's always with me.
Red flag.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's weird.
I go red flag, mental illness, red flag.
Wasn't
But
that
to
similar
them,
to
it
Dahmer too? Dahmer was
Yes,
that's why he
wanted
would
to
like
keep them
eat people.
close to him.
Yeah.
But he wanted somebody. The difference was Dahmer
Yeah.
wanted somebody to
Because
stay,
of loneliness.
but
Yeah.
he didn't want their personality. So that's why he wanted to create that zombie, is because he wanted them there,
Submissive.
but he didn't want that. He wanted them to never leave him. Like he wanted them to like stay, regardless. He didn't want to have, he wanted to act as bad as he acted and still have somebody be absolutely devoted, like a slave to him. And I feel like this is more like Jeffrey Dahmer definitely had some kind of issue, for sure.
Oh yeah.
For sure an issue, but I feel like thinking that their spirits are close to you is, I feel like, another end of the spectrum, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they're very close in things they did, but like I feel like one was an example of like pure mental illness, and the other one is like an example of a lesser mental illness, but still doing bad things equally.
I say like thinking that they're with you is not as bad as like, oh, I
Slave.
want them to be with me, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill them.
Yeah.
Like that's like such a different spectrum, because I think it's very common for people who are like religious to be like, oh yeah, they're always with you, you know?
Yeah. It's a little different concept than I'm going to kill them so they can
Yeah.
with me.
So they could be that way.
Yeah, it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum of normalness, and normal's relative, but a spectrum of like good versus evil. Like a good thought is they're always around me. They're always with me to guide me. They're always with me because I killed them and I made them stay with me. That's a little like they balance out each other in the world. It's just bad. All right.
Oh boy. So yeah, there we go. So there's the little German youth that kind of instigated everything to
Where
a
did
degree.
the German youth come from? Was it just...
What, his time in the military?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was actually stationed in Germany,
Oh, okay.
Osnabrück.
Is
in
that
West
during
Germany.
World War? That's not...
Nah, this is probably in
Like
like
60s.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
this was
that's what I
around the
thought.
time where there was that division of West Germany and East Germany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
before the Berlin Wall fell.
I didn't know the German youth was still around at that point. I'm sure it was.
I wouldn't be surprised if it. I don't know if the youth was also a part of the military, but I think it was just like the server.
That makes sense.
But anyway, so they both got drunk, and then this is pretty much it. So the kid was unconscious from being completely trash with them, and that's what fueled the fantasies. It helped fuel it because there he is, being completely passive, completely submissive, not moving around. But also, like, this guy, Dennis, was also pretty submissive as well. Like, he would lay the bodies on him. He wasn't, like, a lot of the time. He wanted to be in that submissive kind of role as well.
He didn't want to be the dominant person. He wanted to
Not
be
all the
submissive.
time. He did have moments where it seemed like he was kind of dominant.
Yeah.
And he would,
switched
like...
the roles.
Yeah, but he also would have it where, after he would murder a person, he would bathe their body and then just, like, drape them over himself. And, like, station mirrors so that way he could look at himself.
From every angle. That's
Yeah, and be like, oh, wow, I'm being dominated at this time. And, like, look in the mirror and be like, or turned on by it.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really, really wild.
That takes a lot of thought. That's like a premeditated. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
premeditated, but I mean, like, you really have to sit there and be like, what do I want? This man, as bad as he was, knew what he wanted, and it was
Yeah.
that's scary when somebody's like so determined to get like what they want, and in a bad way. Like,
Yeah.
it borders on evil. He is evil,
Yeah,
but
big time. He killed
Yeah.
12 to 15 people, possibly even more. And so, yeah, from there, this is where the fantasies gradually evolved into the person being unconscious or dead. And also, there was a painting that was big into his, like, fantasy. I thought I had it in here, but I guess not. But it was kind of like a Red Dragon kind of thing.
oh
Yeah, where there was a painting of, like, an old man with... it was like a Greek kind of painting where the old man's on a raft and there's, like, two dead younger men on the raft.
oh,
Yeah. So he like really enjoyed that painting as well.
that makes sense.
Yep.
This is where they get the ideas for all these movies. What's
Yeah.
this?
Oh, there it is. The Raft of the Medusa.
Oh, wow.
Oil painting. So that was another thing. And that's also from when he was stationed in Germany, if I remember correctly.
So you would say that the military molded him.
Yeah, big time, because he did have experiences in the military where he saw people die. And on top of that, he almost had a near-death experience with a taxi driver. A taxi driver tried, like, abducting him.
You think that would like trigger like something good? Like people almost have near-death experiences and go on to do something good because they want to, be a good person. I've never heard of a situation where they almost die and they turn around and be like, I'm gonna do the same thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the whole thing was up with the taxi driver. I don't know what the motive was with this guy, but he did end up knocking him out and then throwing him in the trunk of his car.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow,
not like Dennis's car.
Did
The
they become
taxi
best
driver's car.
friends?
No, but they probably would have been like,
So I was like, did they
Birds of a
become
feather.
best friends?
yeah, they should have. Like, oh wow, you got me, I knocked you out. All right, cool.
It's like Taggart, it, but
Yeah.
for serial killers.
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, in regards to the whole psychological thing, he did kind of have like a split personality with the whole mirror thing, or visually.
I could end trauma. So when you're young and something traumatic happens to you and your brain can't, just in case people don't know, and your brain can't handle it, like you physically can't handle it. Not physically, mentally can't handle it. Even if you don't know, it will split. And people with multiple personalities, which is still being studied, they can't really prove that it exists yet. They can't. They still can't prove they can see people do it, but they can't prove that it's an actual thing. Or it's not something else. It's still like a molding, shifting area.
Like split personality
Yes,
disorder?
absolutely.
Or dissociative, I think they refer to it now.
Well,
dissociative identity.
Yeah, they now refer to it as that. They keep flipping because they're still doing studies on it. They don't really understand it quite
They
yet.
have a documentary, I want to say limited time series on Netflix about a serial well, not a serial killer, but I think the person killed one person, and then they're like, oh man, we got this guy, and like, yeah. But then when they're interviewing him, it turns out that he was able to draw differently. He was able to speak differently.
It's interesting. It's an interesting subject, and it's still like, science can't say it's a thing until they have proof it's a thing. You can have somebody who has it, and, it's really interesting what your mind can do and how your mind can work and how your subconscious knows that this is really not good for you and you're having like a very traumatic response and can just separate into like its own separate identity to protect you. Like what emergency, who pulls the emergency alarm in your brain to do that? But you can see, like, if I'm looking in a mirror, I can dissociate into somebody else. That would make sense on why this was happening.
I don't think he was like fully dissociative. I think it was just like him changing his mindset a little bit to like a murder mindset,
Like
or
somebody
like
looking
sexual
into the mirror
fantasy
and, like,
mindset.
pumping themselves
Yeah.
up. Okay, so it's less of like well, he might. It could be.
It's possible.
It could be.
I don't know, because from the readings that I did, I could never really find him where it's like I mean, actually, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, because there are moments, but it's also could have been just from being blackout drunk.
Yeah.
Because there were times where he would wake up similar to Dahmer, and he doesn't remember killing a person.
It's I feel like it's a very weird thing. It's it's just a very complicated thing. Depending on who they are, like look at, for example, like Gacy. He would dissociate.
He would also do the same thing, blackout drunk.
into the clown.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if he remembers. I'm sure he remembers.
I'm
it.
pretty certain because
sure
they
he
did that
knows.
alcohol trick on him in prison where they snuck him a bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
Ooh. What
But
No, I'm just nodding.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
we were getting a tidbit.
No. I'm just.
yeah, but
She would remember all of that stuff.
so it's just weird. It's like, are they telling the truth saying they don't remember? Or are they just doing that to be like insane, give themselves like a depending on what state you're in, it's very difficult to do this. An insanity case. To be like, I don't remember committing this crime. I blipped.
Dang.
Like I blipped for a minute. I forgot who I was for a minute, and it could just be because I'm mentally ill. A lot of I've seen a lot of cases, like murder cases, where people try to go, I was insane at the time, because it's not better, but it is in some places, not every place. Some places like, oh, you go to a mental hospital, you're there for life. Like that's it. But sometimes you have the ability to get out of out of your time if you go to a mental hospital, depending on how many people you kill.
That's if you're lucky, if you are able
Yes.
to survive the mental hospital.
It's very hard to prove that you're like not mentally sound. You have to go through like, I don't know, like several psychiatrists to tell if you're actually mentally there or not. Like they have to come to a conclusion, and it's very hard. I mean, it's not hard to fake a mental illness, but it's harder to display the same thing over and over and over and over again, but yeah, so I don't know. It could just be that this is what they say, that they don't remember. Some people, it could just be that they don't remember. Like this guy,
I feel like this guy
had some problems when he was younger. It could be that he had that dissociative problem, but
I feel like he was being honest when he's relaying certain information, because there's been plenty times recently where I've gotten a little too shwasty. I'm like, what the hell happened?
yeah, it could just be that.
What did I say?
They could be saying that I don't remember what happened. Like, for example, like Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't remember what happened, but it could just be you were a very big alcoholic. It could just be you were so drunk you don't remember what happened. And it could just be not that you're like dissociating. It's just that you were super drunk or on so many drugs that you don't remember what happened.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say it's understandable because that is never understandable. But
Yeah, no, big time, because alcohol is technically a certain, it's a different
drug.
mindset.
Yeah.
Same thing with like a lot of the mental illness that goes on.
Yeah. So
If
it's
these
like
people
it
are
could be both.
dissociating, that's a different mindset.
yeah. Well,
Or
no.
maybe they're just trying to bring on that separate mindset so that way they don't really
It
have
might
to
just
worry
be
about it.
easier
Yeah.
for them. Like if you get, it's not saying that they don't want to do it, but like.
And the
you know how
alcohol
it's
lowers your
easier-
inhibitions
Yeah.
so it's like with
You know
the
how
sexual
it's easier to talk
fantasy,
to a
it's
girl
like,
if you're like drunk?
yeah,
Or
social
talk to a
lubricant.
guy? It's like that for them, which is
Now it's murder
Hard to
lubricant in
say.
these guys' stories.
yeah, it's hard to say because like that's killing, and I'll never understand that.
Yeah.
But for them, that might have made it easier to like make the first blow or do the things that they did. It might have made it because in their mind, some killers in their mind, they're like, this is wrong, but I want this, but this is wrong. Like some of them knew it was wrong, but continued to do it. Like they had that like guilt. Some of them. Some of them didn't care. There's some that definitely just went on with their normal life and didn't care. But there's some.
I don't know. It
Ooh,
seems
it
like
just
this
felt-
guy had some guilt. Same thing with Dahmer. Dahmer definitely
had
had guilt.
That's why I said Dahmer had guilt, but he was a drunk
Yeah.
because he had these urges, and he even tried to tell his dad. People have these urges, and they just are so ashamed that they have these urges that it's like they can't even talk to anybody about it. So I could see why you get so drunk. I couldn't see why you would murder a person. Let me look at the camera and say that. But I can understand how it's like a crutch. But
Well, I was also gonna say I think it's easy for someone to get caught up in what they're doing to the point where they don't even realize they're doing it. Like it becomes a subconscious thing where you're like, like I've had moments where that happened where you get so caught up
You
in
have?
something that like time passes. It's almost like flow state in a way, but it's like
Autopilot.
yeah, you're an autopilot. Right? Like even when people drive to their jobs and stuff, right? Like
Autopilot.
you're like, how did I get here? Like
Yeah, there's been times where I've gone on the
Yes.
road and I'm like,
Yep.
wait, how did I get in this lane?
exactly.
You're like, wait
yeah.
a minute, I didn't get in this lane. That's scary. That's your brain taking over.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it's your subconscious taking over. But that's what I'm saying. That like maybe sometimes when they're saying they don't remember, it could be a combination of the alcohol and also of this like subconscious. They're just in emotions of doing it, and then when you come to, you're like, oh my god, did I really just do that? Like,
in a sick, needing mental help
No.
no,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
advisor. It's not just something like it's like to compare somebody driving and not remembering driving to their job. It's compared to that, which any normal person wouldn't be like. I completely understand that. I completely understand driving and not remembering getting to your job. I've 100% done that. But like when it comes to, I don't know, because it's hard to understand.
You know what's a
why
weird,
people
scary
murder
thought?
people.
Is that to some people, you could say like, oh, they got so drunk that they like killed someone. And some people be like, yeah, I get that. I bet there's other people who have that same mindset who's like, oh man, I've thought about that stuff.
They
But,
definitely
like,
have, and they have definitely
Yeah.
not enacted on it. You're not telling me that there's only a certain amount of people that think about that. There is
Yeah.
people who think about that, and even to the point where like they'll get in a rage and kill somebody, and then they go to jail for that one killing somebody. You're telling me if they didn't like have a plan, they would have been like this guy. You know what I mean? Like, it's like at what point do we separate the people like that from the people like this? Like like the only thing that like stopped him was him getting caught.
Yeah, big time.
The only thing that stopped that one
Most,
person
yeah.
was them getting caught.
Yeah, because they didn't seek help when they were getting these feelings. They felt remorse after being caught, but it's
like
not like
too late at
yeah,
that
it's
point.
not like
It's
they
like-
were like, oh, like I have these feelings. Let me go get psychiatric help or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't reach out, but
Yeah.
again, different times. You
Yeah,
can't
big
really
time.
say why they didn't do these things because it was deemed unacceptable, and the mental health facilities were so bad back then, like so bad. So it's like you're going to a mental health facility to get a lobotomy. Like that's your like you're going to get electroshock therapy. It's like the thought of that versus just living and doing this is like, there wasn't much help. Like nobody wanted to talk about it. Hush hush. It stays in the family. you know, it's still, that stigma was still there. So we're talking like from a perspective of like the way we, you know, the way everyone who's watching this sees mental health issues.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep that in mind while watching this. So,
But anyways, the other thing that messed him up was his brother outed him.
wow.
Yeah, to his entire family because they saw a movie about like I wonder what the movie was, but it was something about homosexuals, and the brother and his wife were like, that's crazy, can't believe this and whatnot. And yeah, of course Dennis was like standing up for it. He's like, I don't understand what's so wrong about that. Whatever. And they're like, well, I mean, guess what? If you're standing up for them, you must be a part of the community. So
Wow.
yeah, after that, you
It's a
know,
bold assumption.
yeah.
Yeah. How do you just assume because somebody stands up for it that that's what they are?
By that logic, everyone would know who Batman is. Whenever Bruce is like, Batman's not that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be like, you're Batman.
Oof. Old Batman. Yeah.
Put on that mask that's on your mantle.
A lot of people stand up for Batman. Batman's great.
Yeah.
That means
Everybody's Batman.
Yeah, by that logic, everybody's Batman.
Just like that scene where I'm Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man. What? Can't be that many Spider-Man.
Sorry.
What?
That's my apologies.
No, you fine. The other thing that's amazing is that, yeah, after he got out, he's like, whatever, I'm leaving you losers. And then he joined the police.
Oh.
Okay, that makes sense. That rides.
He moved to London.
Checks out.
Moved to London and joined the police force.
That makes sense. And he passes psych evals, apparently. Or
I
whatever
wonder
they
if
do
that
that.
was a part of it. I
I'm
wonder
curious.
if at that time they were really like
They had
delving deep into everything.
They had to put the psych eval because they were getting too many serial
Yeah,
killers
probably.
in their precinct.
Even after the
In their
psych eval,
section.
there was that one. I mean, I guess that police officer was in the police force for a while. We had that cannibal cop
Yeah.
that wanted to eat prostitutes. I don't think he
There you
ever
go.
acted on it, but he was
you
planning it.
There you go. All cops are serial killers. There you go.
Bruh.
I'm joking.
As a former police officer, I can say that when we were at the gun range, one of our instructors told us, yeah, you know, everybody here is crazy. They only pick the people that are going to run towards the fire,
Crazy.
towards the gunshots. So that's why you guys are all here. So technically, you're all crazy.
Dang.
I'm going to grab the mic and say,
In
as
that
a cop,
person's opinion.
Yeah, according to that instructor.
Yes.
I'm going to grab
At the
the
gun
mic
range.
and go, as a former cop's wife, my husband is crazy.
I'm gonna play it mad political. And
joking,
your
I'm joking.
opinion as
Joking. My opinion, I'm joking.
Yeah, I would feel like that's altruism. Like
There had
it's
to be
one
a
or
reason.
heroic. I mean, they do deem
Yeah.
police officers and firefighters heroes because
just heroes?
that's brave to do that.
Or
To
crazy.
yeah, well,
To do the same thing
then
over
all
and over
heroes
and
are
expect different
crazy.
results.
That's like saying go to the Batman analogy.
It's
It
like,
always comes back to Batman.
Yeah, what other crazy person's gonna go out and fight a killer clown?
That's exactly what they say in Batman.
it's like saying doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. They run into the line fires more than once and expect different results.
Yeah.
So, no cop, they're very brave, okay?
Big time.
They're very brave. I'm not saying that. I'll take back everything I just said.
But yes, his killings occurred between 1978 and 1983 once
Sounds
again.
about right.
Yep. So he had a very short amount of time where he killed this amount of people.
He was on a frenzy, some would
Yeah,
say.
yeah, big time. There was at a time where
And he had time to get to his job.
yeah.
And do
Although
a
he did
job.
take time off.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, because of some of how how energetic the people were that he was killing, and like from the wounds he would get from killing these people. Because of course, there's going to be a struggle. Who's going to willingly let somebody kill them?
Yeah. No one.
Exactly.
Unless you're like severely drugged and like don't know where you are. Even then, defense people are people, okay? People be people in, all right?
He confessed to killing around 16 people, but the more accurate number from what we're seeing is 12.
Okay.
At least 12.
So he like went in and said, I killed 16 people, and they're like,
Yeah.
proof, and you can only name 12.
I guess. And also, I mean, it's possible there was more. He did have these funeral pyres where he would burn these people. So who knows? Maybe there are people
How they
that he
not-
miscounted.
Yeah, true. Okay.
So he lived at a couple of locations. The first location is 195 Melrose Avenue. This is where he killed at least 9 people.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 9. There's a couple of other people that he did try to kill, but they escaped.
Okay.
Yep.
So Dahmer. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Very similar, eerily similar to Dahmer again. Because they were twinning hardcore. It was terrible. So his first victim,
Just a
14
terrible
years
time
old.
to live.
Yeah, then
That
the
was just a
70s to
terrible
the
time to
80s.
live. I know.
Oof. And even the 60s with Manson and everything.
It's like it was just like, be careful. You're walking down the street from school. You might get kidnapped.
I guess any time before like now is
tags.
terrible. I mean, sure, we got these other things going on, other horrible things, but at least serial killers are down, I guess. Hopefully.
It's like you lose one, you gain the other one. So
Yeah.
it's like even losing is relative because there is still serial killers.
Nature bores a vacuum.
Wow, so philosophy.
So wait, so it tries to teach a vacuum and the vacuum gets bored?
Yeah, they get
bores
Kirby's come in, right?
Oh,
A bunch of little Kirby's.
These trees are boring this vacuum.
Yeah.
So yes, there's the first victim, 14 years old, Stephen Holmes. This kid was trying to purchase alcohol.
Wow. Dude, wow. That's nuts at how similar it is.
Yeah.
That's
so,
crazy, dude.
so this kid's trying to buy alcohol.
That's weird.
He thought he was 17 years old, so he thought he was an older person at least. But, like
He probably said he was 17. That's what.
yeah, more than likely. Which I'm surprised. I thought in England and European countries, like kids are able to buy alcohol. Definitely in Germany, I think you
Definitely
could be like
changed.
13.
I think you're 18. I think it is. Might
Dang.
be because I feel like it could have changed too.
Yeah, it's possible.
So I don't know.
Yeah, so, yep. He woke up, the kid was next to him, and pretty much strangled him. Got his necktie, ligature, that's it, strangled him unconscious, drowned him in a bucket.
A bucket?
Yeah, a bucket. Got
He
a
had the bucket
of
of
water.
water?
Yeah,
Okay.
got a bucket of water, drowned him, and then washed the body. That was always his big thing. It was like
I'm
ritualistic.
still stuck on a bucket of water.
Yeah. Yep. This guy was big into drowning people. He would strangle them,
Okay.
not finish strangling them, and then drown them. So he did like a double tap.
And that takes a minute to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
Oh.
apparently when he was younger, he'd also go out to the water and pretend to drown himself. So
Maybe
it-
that's
it
what
was
he
some-
actually
it was
wanted
some
to do?
fascination
Yeah, it
with
was
the
a weird-
drowning.
maybe
Fantasy.
he wanted to die. Well, he did.
Right, yeah, they said he did want to die, so.
So, but I don't know.
But that's what you always do, or frequently do. You strangle somebody, be like, all right, well, I mean, they're not completely dead. I'm going to finish them off by drowning them. And then, wash their body, powder them up, and then have them lay around for a little while. So he bound this kid up and threw him under the floorboard. So very telltale heart.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, they'd end up in the floorboards.
Why is it like? I know why. Because it's hard to transport a body anywhere else.
Well, this guy did have a full garden in his backyard because a lot of the time he would disembowel the people, throw their like intestines in the backyard for the animals to eat, and then like chop up their bodies or like, well, also take pictures very similar to Dahmer, position the bodies in like weird positions and everything.
That's like almost writing down your crimes. That's rule number 2.
Yeah.
Never take pictures
Oh my
of your
God.
crimes.
Why are you giving rules
Yeah,
to the
Yeah,
killers?
it should be the opposite.
So,
Yeah.
so
Like,
we
keep
can
writing your
sell
crimes
Don't
down.
kill
merch.
people. That's the
We can
lesson.
sell merch that says rule number 1, don't write down your crimes. Rule number 2,
I'm not
don't take
selling
pictures.
merch
Wait,
like
wait,
that.
I'm not done.
Lesson number 1, don't kill people.
No, it said rule number 1, don't write down your crimes. Rule number 2, never take pictures of a crime. Rule number 3, never commit a crime.
Why is that number 3? You already helped him with 1 and 2.
Because that's the most important rule.
It should be like rule number 1,
story.
don't kill people. Rule number 2, if you do
Don't
this.
write it down. Rule number 3, don't take pictures.
That's like
of
rule number
OJ's
4.
If I did it, bro.
Rule number 4.
If you got this far, go back to rule number 1.
They're like rule number 15. Report yourself to the cops.
God.
Oof.
The cop thing should be number 2. What are you talking about? If you first, you're not committing a crime.
Yes.
Second of all, if you do, call
Tony,
the cops and turn yourself
You're
in.
biased. I need to leave you alone. You're biased. I can't listen to you.
Oh my God.
You're biased.
So yeah, this kid remained
Somebody
under
in
the floor.
editing, put a cop hat over to him.
I'm in editing. I'm not doing it.
Put a cop hat over him.
Dang.
Woo,
Oh my
woo, woo. Yeah, literally.
Oof.
Flashing lights.
I don't understand what's happening.
Oh my God.
So I don't remember how long Jeffrey Dahmer would keep people around, but this guy left this kid under the floorboard for 8 months.
Wow.
Like, that is gross.
How did nobody notice the smell?
I don't know.
Okay.
Technically what he would do is he would pull the bodies out. He would do like a bi-weekly spray down of the bodies. He would like spray them with deodorant and also spray like insect repellent or insect killer, because the bodies definitely would decompose. They get bloated, maggots would form. He would pull them out covered in maggots. Yes, really, really nasty. And even he like mentions that during the times where he's like, all right, this body's gotta go, I gotta like get rid of this, like the intestines and everything, like he would puke. He was so sick of it, like even he would get really sick from getting rid of these bodies and like chopping them up.
Alarming.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't understand how people are able to do stuff like
what
that.
The hell?
It's called being very, very mentally ill. Being very, very, very mentally ill. Yeah, that's what it is. That's how, the line. That's that line we were talking about.
I don't know, just the smell alone and living in that and smelling that day in, day out, that's rough.
Couldn't.
Anyway, so he got a second person. Second person escapes. This person
Good for
leaves.
him.
This is Andrew Ho. Lured his flat, promises sex. Attempted to strangle him. And the guy bounced. He was able to escape, thankfully. This person was lucky. He reported it, and Dennis was like, no, whatever. It was just like a lover's quarrel or whatever.
Here's another thing for people. Don't be afraid to make noise to save yourself. Don't be afraid to say no and make noise so people know that you're in trouble. Especially women, but also men. But, don't be afraid. Meaning, don't be afraid to, save yourself.
If I remember correctly, the way this guy was able to drop the charges, or Dennis was able to get out scot-free, was because this person was also like underaged. I think they were like 17, and the legal age to have, like intercourse was 18. So if this kid was incriminating him, he's incriminating himself and getting into trouble as well.
Okay.
So that's why he's like, you know what? I can't have that on my record. I'm going to drop it. That's it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But if that wasn't the case, if the police were able to turn the other cheek for the report and everything, then yeah, this guy would have been caught a lot sooner.
That's always the case. It's crazy.
It's frustrating, actually. It's
Yeah, it is big time.
So only 2 months after that incident, though, this guy gets his second victim. Finally, this person kills him. 23-year-old Canadian student named Kenneth Ockenden. And what's crazy is, like, he strangles him with his headphones. The kid's got the headphones on, or a young adult got his headphones on. He's listening to music. Next thing you know, he's strangled, dragged across the floor. And yeah, after he kills this guy, he starts using this guy's headphones like nothing ever happened. Drinks a bottle of rum. That's it. And he's like, listen to music.
That's like, oh, God.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
That's what I said. That's like sociopath level. Like, I don't know.
This
He's
all
strong, huh?
Yeah, this guy.
He doesn't look strong from the picture. He looks like lanky.
But that's the thing. I guess, like, don't judge a book by its cover. That's like a lesson. It's like, sure, people may seem frail or whatever, or, I guess, docile, and then lo and behold, they're like this.
They're brolic.
Yeah. Like, you really have to feel people out. Like, you can't just immediately go to somebody's house. Go to dinner a couple of times.
He seems innocent.
But I mean, that's, I guess, the same thing that
not.
happened with Dahmer. Dahmer had that one person he really liked. They hung out for a little bit, and then, you think nothing of it. And next thing you know, you go over their place, and that's it.
Yeah.
Terrible. When you hang out, invite them to, like, hang out with friends. That way their friends could do a vibe check.
Or even when you hang out, I was always taught growing up that when you go on a date, you're going to leave their name, you're going to leave their number.
Oh, yeah, big time. That way, if anything does happen, then this person's
where
like...
you're going, the address of where you're going, and you leave it with somebody.
Yeah.
So if you disappear, the cops at least know who to go to.
And that goes for the men, too, because there are femme fatales.
Oh, absolutely. So...
There you go,
Yeah.
Rachel. That's a good rule.
Yeah.
That's a good rule.
Put that on a shirt.
Save yourself. Loud. Be loud. Don't go anywhere, go somewhere public. Go to Starbucks.
But, yep, this is also where he got his first camera. 5 minutes?
Yeah.
We're at the 5-minute mark.
Yep.
Oh. Just for a break?
No,
What?
there's no break.
Oh, God. More. All right, so this is where he got his first camera. All right, then he got his third victim. This kid was young, too, 16 years old. Martin Duffy. Very young. All right, let's skip down because the other people apparently are getting nixed.
We'll put a list of victims.
Move to the 23 Cranley Gardens. 3 victims were killed here.
What about how he got caught? How about
He got
that?
caught by flushing bodies down his toilet.
I can't with this.
There.
This is the only way he could have done it.
Dynarod, that's the plumbing company that was sent to investigate why the drains were getting clogged. So he ends up going out, doing a roto-rooter of this drain, and lo and behold, he finds skin and bones, and they're like, what is this? And Nelson's like, oh, looks like somebody's flushing their KFC down the drain.
I think they say that's the it's not funny. That's the dangers of the trade.
Man, that sucks.
Not funny.
I would not want to be that plumber that day.
That is bad.
But so they end up obviously the plumber knows something's weird. The plumber's like, no, this is human remains. This is not cool. So this guy's smart, calls the police. This guy, Dennis, apparently ratted himself out. He complained. He wrote to the owner of the flat. He's like, these drains suck. Something's going on. Plumber comes by, outs him. He's like, that's
It's
it.
a small place where he lived too.
Yeah, the second place was. The second place didn't have a garden or anything. It didn't have the other stuff that would have.
Upstairs, right?
Yeah, he was an upstairs apartment.
For some reason, this is the one part I remember is the toilet. When I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, the toilet guy. I was like, I've watched a podcast or listened, not watched. I mean, you can listen or watch.
Yeah, they said it was clogged halfway up the building. That's how much stuff was in there.
Yep.
I just don't.
No, similar to Dahmer, he was boiling the bodies, chopping them up. Yep.
I just feel like even Dahmer's way was more it was stupid. They were both very stupid and both very horrible things to do. Let me just state that before I say anything else. But the toilets get clogged, bro. Normally going to the bathroom can clog a toilet.
Yeah, paper towels. You think they're paper that they're going to break up? They don't.
They don't. They
You
said
can't
there's
flush
only
a
one
paper
brand. The ones that have one ply is the only thing that breaks down in your sewer tanks or whatever you have.
And flushable wipes are not apparently flushable.
They are
Except I
not.
use flushable wipes.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I use them too. So
Yeah.
we're not promoting this. You clog your toilet.
No, yeah, it creates a big. They call it. I forgot the name for it. A berg, right?
Yeah.
It's like a big shit thing in the toilet.
Oh yeah, and don't they have to go down and clean it out?
It's like a big poo monster.
yeah.
Oh, the same thing with
Hazards of the
fat,
trade, I think.
with oils and stuff. They say never
Gross.
drop oils down your drain, otherwise it'll create a fatberg.
Yep.
But anyway, so he returns from work. The police are like, "Hey, where are the bodies?" They obviously know what's going up. They already realize that the drain is backed up and it's coming from his place. And he's like, what are you talking about? Good grief, how awful. And they're like, no, where are the rest of them? We know that you're the person that's doing all of this. And he admits it. He admits everything.
I don't know how he goes, wow, that's so crazy. Couldn't happen to me.
There.
That's so crazy. That wasn't me. That's like when you know you're like, okay, you did it. We all know you did it.
Yeah.
Like,
There. In the police car, he's like, killed probably like 15 or 16 people.
he gave up. That was like, no, there was no fight there.
There. He pleaded not guilty. This was
Even though he said he did it.
October 24th. Yeah, and he admitted to everything already, so I don't understand why he didn't. He say he wanted to admit to everything, but yep, ended up getting 25 years, minimum of 25 years. So this guy could have been out in 25 years.
Yeah, the issue is depending
But
on
it's
what
life
country
imprisonment.
you're in. Some countries don't have life in prison because
Yeah.
they deem it as like torture.
Yeah.
They said you can't torture a person with life in prison. The U.S. is probably the only. I wouldn't say the only. As far as I know, we're like very big on life in prison. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, that's why they call it 25 to life.
Yeah, this guy got 25 to. He originally got. Well, it was that 25
Minimum
to life.
of 25
yeah,
years,
minimum
and
of
then they'll
25 years.
Redo.
Yeah,
your
reevaluate
case.
it and see if
Yeah.
you're like, all right, are
If
you a
you're
little bit
reformed.
better? Maybe, from whatever we've done in prison, maybe you could be recidivized. But nope, ended up dying in jail.
Good.
So he's brought to York Hospital, complaining of severe stomach pains. Apparently, he had a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm and died from there. Yep.
At your heart rate.
Yeah. Well, below here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because your aorta is pretty long and big. Usually, that's like if that ruptures,
You're done.
you're bleeding out
Yeah.
because the aorta or any kind of artery is just like woof,
So-
bleeding like profusely.
What would you guys say is like what are the takeaways from this so we can wrap it up? Well,
Definitely don't immediately go
Mental
over
health.
somebody's place.
Yeah.
Mental health always is the big thing. If you're feeling any kind of bizarre urges or anything like that, don't be afraid to seek help. That's the big thing that we touch upon like every single episode.
And we'll put the number for mental health services in it below or in the description.
Vibe check, cell phones, like
Yeah.
what Rachel
Leave
said.
your number.
Leave your number,
Tell
leave the place.
somebody. I always tell my friends, I'm like, if you
Take a
going
picture of the
someplace-
place, send it to your friends.
I was like, take a picture.
Share your location.
Tracking.
yeah, turn on
Yeah.
tracking. Yeah.
You have tracking.
To who you trust.
Why don't you go get an air? Yeah.
Airdrop
Wait a
location.
Yeah, go get an
That's also bad.
There's the tracking locations, and use that for your kids. Use that for you. If you're going somewhere, put that in your bag so they know where the bag is at least, or there's always, we have options now. They didn't have options back then. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah, big time. If somebody
Save
does
yourself.
something weird that makes you feel
Make
uncomfortable.
noise. Be rude, as they say. Be rude. Save yourself. So if somebody's giving you creeps, you're allowed to say, "I'm good. I'm gonna leave." You're allowed to be rude. Knows the beginning and the end of a sentence. Okay, that's my takeaway.
With that said, I think that's Murder We Spoke.
Yes.
I mean, if you're interested in hearing more about the other people that we didn't get to address, we could always do a two-parter.
Yeah.
We kind of do like a speed run for the rest of it. But wherever you feeling, is there anybody else that you want us to review? Maybe if you don't want to do a two-parter kind of thing.
Yeah.
What else?
Leave us suggestions.
Suggestions?
Yeah, please.
Maybe there's somebody we've never heard of before that we would like to dive
We have
into.
a suggestion box.
Yeah.
Leave it, down there.
But with that said, we're Murder We Spoke. I'm Matt.
Oh.
Bruh. I'm Matt.
I'm Rachel.
And we're not murdering anybody. So let's get out.
Yeah.
Bye.